Dooku was Qui-Gon's master and close friend. Just before Qui-Gon left for Naboo with Obi-Wan, he talks with Dooku in the Jedi Temple. In the original story, Dooku says he won't be there to protect Qui-Gon, but what if Dooku went with Qui-Gon to Naboo? A phantom figure approaches the group of Naboo soldiers and Jedi. He ignites his double blade, but to his surprise, he sees 3 Jedi instead of 2. His master only told him 2 Jedi would be present, but that doesn't change anything. He's been ordered to kill the Jedi and he will succeed. Dooku orders Obi-Wan to protect the Queen, and together he and Qui-Gon ignite their lightsabers. The duel of fates begins. The 2 masters rush the Sith, whose double blade proves effective against multiple attackers, but it begins to look dire for Maul. 2 masters are wishing for his death. They increase the pace and surround Maul, utilizing the unusual environment around them. Maul has to keep his defense pristine, or he'll fall to the Jedi. Master Dooku advances on Maul, in his prime, one of the most skilled duelists in the Order. He flicks up his blade, causing Maul to lose balance, who falls back into Qui-Gon's lime green saber, severing an arm and a leg. They capture Maul and bring him back to Coruscant. At this point, Dooku was working with Sidious, but we are going to assume he didn't know his true identity as Chancellor Palpatine. Palpatine was testing Dooku, and didn't really trust him yet fully to reveal this information, and he was right to do so. Qui-Gon's death was the last straw for Dooku, and ultimately pushed him completely over to the dark side, and was the catalyst for him leaving the Jedi Order. But with Qui-Gon's survival and Maul's capture, Dooku has a change of heart. Qui-Gon has brought Anakin back with him from Tatooine, a promising boy whom he's labelled the Chosen One, the one who will bring balance to the Force and restore peace to the galaxy. Dooku has a new hope for the future of the galaxy and will not complete his journey down the dark path. The Chosen One could bring balance to the galaxy. However, he has already done plenty of Sidious's bidding, but to repent for this, he will reveal everything to the Jedi Council. Dooku is summoned in front of the Council to debrief on the events of Naboo. They brought Maul with them as their trophy, but Dooku has something else to reveal. He tells them everything, how he worked alongside Darth Sidious, ordered the creation of a clone army on Naboo, but also murdered his fellow friend and Jedi, Sifo Dyas, in order to do so. The council was shocked to hear this, especially his own master Yoda. Dooku explained all this knowing the consequences. He'd be put in jail for the time being, whilst the Jedi investigated his claims. But everything checks out. The clones on Kamino, the inhibitor chips, Sifo Dyas' body. Sidious's entire plan had been revealed to the Jedi. They share the information with the new Chancellor Palpatine to keep him informed, but they are only telling him his own plan. He cannot believe Dooku betrayed him. He must now change his strategy. Dooku also revealed Sidious's plan for the Separatist movement, to start the Confederacy of Independent Systems and begin mass seceding from the Republic. The Jedi themselves reveal Sidious's plans to the Senate and urge that if any worlds were approached about leaving the Republic and joining said Separatists, that they do not oblige, as they will be only playing into the hands of the Sith, and the last thing they want is what's best for the galaxy. This revelation completely ruined Sidious's plans. The Separatist movement was choked before it could begin. It would be impossible to implement now. No world would join the Sith. 1,000 years of operating, building up resources, establishing contacts, gathering allies, all to waste. But he is still Chancellor for 8 years, and will make the most of this. Qui-Gon is the perfect master for Anakin. He is not so beholden to the rules like Anakin, making them very similar. Anakin in his early years held a lot of resentment towards Obi-Wan, who felt like he had to train Anakin and didn't fully understand him, contributing to his fall to the dark side. Anakin wouldn't have this resentment towards Obi-Wan, who would empathize with Anakin. Qui-Gon didn't follow the normal Jedi ideals. He understands the importance of attachments, which makes him unpopular amongst other Jedi in the Order. Qui-Gon followed the will of the Force, and not the will of the Jedi Council. He did what he believed to be right. He didn't live by a code. He lived in the present and not the future like the Council. He was the father figure Anakin needed in his life, someone whom he would talk to about anything. In the original timeline, after Qui-Gon's death, Palpatine took over as this father figure and groomed Anakin over many years. But now that Qui-Gon is alive, Anakin would never get close to Palpatine. Believing Anakin to be the Chosen One, he would be very careful with his training. Anakin would skip the basic group training that all younglings would have at the temple and only have one-on-ones with Qui-Gon. Palpatine wanted the boy so bad, but he had to give him up. he was completely out of reach. Palpatine had to come up with a new plan to incite a civil war inside the Republic. Sidious didn't earn his name for no reason. Sidious, doing harm in a gradual way. This was always his tactic. Just because Grand Plan A failed, doesn't mean he didn't have Grand Plan B, C, or D. He continues to ensure corruption is rampant. He begins to influence systems with the ultimate power in the universe, money. In the shadows, aided by his power as the Chancellor, began to influence many different worlds, scrap trade deals, destroy food production, reduce exploitation, and cause inflation of Republic credits, increasing the gap between the rich and poor, all with the same goal, to turn planet against planet, system against system, tear down the comrade nature of the Republic and turn it into a free-for-all, every planet for themselves. The only way for a planet to securely protect themselves is to create an army. However, this was banned due to the Demilitarization Act of the Republic, so some worlds began leaving the Republic to get around this. However, some just started to build their military regardless. Ever so slowly, the Civil War began, and disputes were taking place all around the galaxy. Without a neutral Republic military, the Jedi were sent to keep the peace all around the galaxy. Palpatine used this conflict to extend his term in office, as he felt the Republic was at a turning point and needed stable leadership. The Senate was easily convinced. The Jedi were spread very thin around the galaxy, with thousands and thousands of star systems, with only just 10,000 Jedi to protect them, less than one per system. This caused many Jedi to die in the conflict that lasted years. The death toll reached over 1 billion, and the Jedi lost half of its members. Palpatine began manipulating events so that the Jedi were seen as instigators and prolonging the war, rather than the peacemakers. He could use his political power to control the media and disseminate propaganda that portrays the Jedi as a threat to the Republic and citizens, highlighting instances of Jedi failure or missteps, portraying them as incompetent and lacking judgment. At the culmination of the war, Palpatine would deem the Jedi enemies of the Republic and blame them for the Civil War and remove them from Coruscant and the Republic. It is now the Jedi would suspect Palpatine of being in bed with the Sith. He's been against the Jedi for years, and this is the only explanation. Qui Gon has been training Anakin for around 10 years, and he's become a very skilled Jedi, strong in the Force, one of the best duelists, and is promoted to the rank of Jedi Knight. It's time to complete his role as the Chosen One. The Jedi Order has been exiled to Tython, but feel an obligation to win back the favor of the people, and the only way they can do this is to expose the corruption behind Chancellor Palpatine. They begin by gathering information on Palpatine's activities and his connections to the Civil War. Through careful investigation and analysis, they identify patterns and inconsistencies that suggest a larger conspiracy at work. Palpatine's agenda is unknown, because it seems he favors multiple systems. He'll favor one planet's narrative and then switch to another, maybe their rival, the perfect method to begin a civil war, to give multiple sides hope and strip it away from them. As they begin to piece together the evidence, the Jedi could also work to build alliances with key figures in the Republic, such as senators and military leaders who were sympathetic to the Jedi. They would begin doing investigations of their own. They also use this network to spread information about Palpatine's corruption and begin to sow seeds of doubt in their mind. To gain more concrete evidence, the Jedi would engage in covert operations to infiltrate Palpatine's inner circle and gather first-hand knowledge of his activities. They investigate the Trade Federation, commerce guilds, Techno-Union, whom Palpatine had favored many times. But they also found that these corporations had evidence of dealing with Darth Sidious. They now have their evidence. But as they go to head for Coruscant, Palpatine declares himself Emperor of the Galaxy. Shock encompasses the Jedi Council when he does this. They thought Palpatine was merely the puppet, but his self-election as Emperor has convinced the Jedi that he is the Sith Lord. It all makes sense. They devise a plan to arrest him and reveal everything they've learnt to the galaxy and expose him as a Sith Lord. They send the entire council that survived the war. Windu, Yoda, Qui Gon, Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, Shaak Ti, but also the Chosen One Anakin, for a meeting with the new Emperor of the Republic. Palpatine accepts and plans to use this to his advantage. Yoda, Windu, Anakin, and Qui Gon arrive in Palpatine's office. What the Jedi said shocked him. Yoda accusing him of being the Sith Lord and manipulating the galactic narrative to turn the people of the Republic against the Jedi and state they will arrest him there and now to expose his true identity to the galaxy. Palpatine was surprised the Jedi figured it out. He pressed a button under his desk, and the door opens behind them as Palpatine's guards open fire on the Jedi. They turn their backs to block fire as Sidious gathers 2 blades with the Force and jumps towards the Jedi. They are surrounded. Yoda turns around to push Sidious back with the Force. He engages him directly, but the other masters are forced to fight off the guards that keep swarming in. Anakin breaks off and joins Yoda. Sidious has been eager to see the power of the Chosen One. Anakin displays his full power, which surprises Palpatine. He looks over to see Kit Fisto, Plo Koon and Shaak Ti emerge behind the guards and begin cutting them down. It won't be long before they join the fight. He sees his death nearing as he kicks Yoda back, cuts the window and makes a jump for it. This is where Anakin's youth prevails. He uses his athleticism to jump out the window and grab Palpatine as they fall right into Obi-Wan's ship. They quickly trap his arms and subdue him on the ground. They capture Palpatine and bring him in front of the Senate. They reveal all the evidence they have that Palpatine is Darth Sidious to the Imperial Senate, which is very compelling and convincing. To top it off, they show footage of him fighting back with 2 crimson blades. They reveal his whole plan, from the original clone army to him instigating the Civil War, with the purpose of making the Jedi enemies of the Republic to steal power for himself. The Jedi successfully convince the Senate and have won back their favor. They are allowed back into the Republic and state their goal is to work with the Senate and people of the Republic to undo Palpatine's malicious activities to end the Civil War and bring back the Republic to the prosperous institution it once was. It would take time, but Palpatine's role in instigating the galactic conflict opened many worlds to a ceasefire to pursue a diplomatic resolution to the war. Eventually peace would be restored in the galaxy, and the Jedi would be the instigators of it. Dooku had been in prison for 12 years for the murder of Sifo Dyas, but exposing Darth Sidious redeemed him in the Force, and the Council decided that his 12-year sentence was long enough, and he was allowed back into the Order. Qui Gon was the perfect master for Anakin. He had the patience, temperament and attitude that perfectly connected with the boy, which allowed him to achieve such power in the light side, enabling him to defeat Sidious. He was the Chosen One, and his journey in the Force was only beginning. Although the Jedi Order suffered significant loss, they would rebuild, strong, ready for the next enemy that would threaten galactic peace. If you enjoyed this video, you have to watch What If Count Dooku Trained Anakin, or What If Padme Was a Sith Lord. Consider becoming a member or check out our Patreon to support the channel. Let me know what you thought about the video and if you thought anything would go differently, and I'll see you all next time.